UFC Vegas 82 is coming up this weekend, and guys, today I have 5 fighters from the entire card that I want to win more than anybody, and I will give you those reasons why I will be cheering for them regardless of my bets, regardless of my picks. I will be sitting back, and I will be actively cheering for these fighters. We're going to talk about them in just a second, and I'd love to know what you guys think afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's talk about the UFC Vegas 82. So, the first fighter that I want to win at UFC Vegas 82 is actually Johnny Parsons. Johnny Parsons, I don't really know the guy, like what he's like. I haven't really seen any interviews from him, but I've seen this guy fight, and this guy brings a brand new level of excitement into the UFC's welterweight division. This dude comes in, guns blazing. He's like a little bit of a technical Trevor Peek. And now, when I say technical, I mean that in a sense where while he comes in guns blazing and swinging, we do see technique through that. And with Trevor Peek, you don't see technique. So he's one of those fighters that seriously has potential to always get fight of the night. Every single time Johnny Parsons is on a card, I am paying attention. And with that, like in the welterweight division, if he can break into the top 15, there needs a little bit to be a little bit more excitement in that division. And Johnny Parsons is the guy that can do it. I don't know how the guy is personally, but I love watching him fight. So I will be cheering for Johnny Parsons to actually get the win. The next fighter, though, that I will be cheering for at UFC Vegas 82 is actually going to be Charles Johnson. Now, it's for more of the same reasons that I picked Johnny Parsons, where Charles Johnson is one of those guys that can really bring excitement to the top 15 of the flyweight division. Now, in my opinion, it's not like welterweight where it's like, okay, we need guys like Charles Johnson in there. It's just Charles Johnson is always in exciting fights. I love watching this guy fight. He's very slick on his feet, and no matter what, his will to win is always there, even though like he can be susceptible to getting taken down and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I just really enjoy watching Charles Johnson fight, and I think he's better than his past performances, and I'll be cheering for him because I do want him to remain in the UFC because he's going to lose 3 in a row if he drops it again, and we don't know if the UFC is actually going to keep this guy, especially because Charles Johnson isn't a name. So I'd like to see him bounce back. I'd like to see him get a win here because he is better than his recent performances, and he's a very exciting fighter in the flyweight division. I would love to see Charles Johnson break into that top 15. Now, guys, let's talk about another fighter, though. I'm going to be cheering for Cesar Almeida. Now, again, I don't know this guy or what he's like personally, but this guy broke on into the Contender Series, and honestly, he's a he has some credentials in kickboxing, right? But he broke into the UFC, or the Contender Series, trying to get into the UFC. And this guy put on a performance. You know this guy's dedicated, because in this fight, he didn't just show his kickboxing. He showed heart, he showed a chin, he showed cardio, he showed jiu-jitsu, he showed defense. Every single aspect of an MMA fight that you can get, Cesar Almeida was able to show on the Contender Series. So that alone shows me, like, this dude really wants to break into the UFC. This dude really wants to become also an MMA champion. You know what I mean? I can't not cheer for that. Plus, he was just exciting. Like, this dude's technique is there, and he's only 4-0. I'm excited to watch him perform, man. I'm very excited to watch Cesar Almeida perform. He blew me away in the Contender Series, and I hope he blows me away in the UFC too. Probably, if he succeeds, we'll have like another Alex Pereira type situation, which is really cool to see, to be honest with you. But guys, let's move on. This one's really tough because I'm going to talk about the main event. And I honestly am a big fan of both guys. But there's one guy that I'm going to be cheering for more than the other. It's got to be Paul Craig. I don't know why. Like, I love Brendan Allen too. I love watching him perform, but I think it's because Paul Craig, let me pull it up how old Paul Craig is. I know he's like starting to get to 40, right? 35 years old. So he's getting towards the end of his career, right? He just moved down to the middleweight division, and he found insane success. He looked good at the weight. He looked healthy. He had a very convincing performance. I just want to cheer for the guy. The dude is always exciting. He's one of those guys, and I'm always excited by BJJ, but he's one of those guys that really puts BJJ on the map. Like, when you see Paul Craig is fighting, you don't think, oh, jiu-jitsu guy, because, again, I don't think that, but I'm trying to think of, like, the UFC fan community, you know what I mean? They have a little bit of something against Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys. They call them butt scooters, right? But Paul Craig is a guy who puts jiu-jitsu to a good name. This dude is ruthless. He comes in with all the will in the world to win, and I can't help but cheer for Paul Craig. His comfort behind victories are something like you never see in the UFC. I love watching Paul Craig fight. I love watching Brendan Allen fight too, but like, man, I gotta cheer for Paul Craig. If Paul Craig could get to the title, that would be an insane story, and I will cheer for him the entire way, for real. Like, out of everyone in the middleweight division, I probably would cheer for Paul Craig. Love watching him fight. He's so exciting, and I like him as a guy too, you know? So, Paul Craig, I'm going to be cheering for. But guys, there is one fighter on the card that I will be cheering for more than anybody else. That's Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, I've been following him since even before he got into the UFC. The improvements that this guy has made, first of all, he's pretty laid back. I think he's pretty funny. He's a guy that's really easy to cheer for. You know, like Chase Hooper. And what really made me cheer for him more than anything else is before his last fight, he was really talking about how he's moving into a new weight division and how serious not that he didn't take it serious, but how serious he is to getting better and remaining in the UFC because he wants to be a champion. He proved that with flying colors in his last fight. We saw a huge difference in Chase Hooper's striking. And he's only going to get better, according to him. I don't have any reason to believe that he's not going to get better because of the improvement that we've just seen in his last fight. I would imagine he's going to show up even better. He's been really, instead of working on it, because he used to spend all of his training on the diet and cutting weight, and he wouldn't evolve as a fighter. But now, in this new weight division, he's constantly evolving as a fighter. And that dedication, along with already having him be like an easy guy to cheer for, like Chase Hooper, I don't know why. He's just a likable guy. Every single time you see him, there's honestly nothing to not like about Chase Hooper. And I'm going to be cheering for him every step of the way. My sister and I are both fans of him. I will be sitting here. I will be cheering for Chase Hooper more than anybody on the entire card. Plus, to be honest with you, little easy to cheer against Jordan Levitt, to be honest with you. But honestly, no matter who Chase Hooper is fighting, I have a very hard time finding a fighter that I will be cheering against Chase Hooper with, for real. Like, I really like that dude. But guys, those are the 5 fighters that I will be cheering for the most at UFC Vegas 82. We have Johnny Parsons, Charles Johnson, Cesar Almeida, Paul Craig, and Chase Hooper. I'd love to know if any fighters stand out to you down below in the comments. Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you again. I'd love to talk down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. On the screen right now, if you'd like to continue watching the Clenbat channel, there'll be 2 videos on screen for you right now. I will see you either there or in the next video, guys. Take care.